One of the greatest threats would be radioactive fallout.
Uranium fever.
Where fallout is heaviest, it can even kill those who have not taken proper shelter.
Broadcasting deep underground in a questionably constructed survivalist bunker is Dave CHAFINZ and Kenneth VIGUE, and your host, as always, Mr. Robots. This episode of the Fallout Hub is brought to you by the Massachusetts Institute of Technology. Open enrollment for advanced robotics courses starts now. Totally nothing sketchy going on. Nope, not at all.
To a time when the world was yellow and brown, and humans were made out of like 50 polygons, and the game would crash every 3 hours or so. Guys, do you remember the feeling of being in the Vegas that was new? Do you remember this? Do you remember? I remember. Do you remember?
I do.
I remember.
I remember.
That was 10 years ago, friends. It is the 10-year anniversary of New Vegas, and I'm your host, Tom of Robots, with my co-hosts, Dave and Ken. What's up, guys? How's things?
Things are great. I'm so joyous in my heart to see you all again after doing my travels across West Virginia.
Yeah, how was that?
Yeah, well, I think the real question here is, how many leaves did you peep?
I peeped a ton of leaves. West Virginia has its own leaf map. I'm sure a lot of states have this to track foliage and when's the best time to go to different parks or hikes. It was very it was just me and my wife and our dogs on our vacation, I would call it. We managed to hit up a few trails. Mainly, if you've gone, see the area that the trails tend to be around.
Okay, this is getting way too long. I really just wanted to know how many leaves you peeped.
Approximately more than 5.
Got it.
We're going to need a more accurate number.
Well, you know where there aren't very many leaves to peep?
Where?
In the deserts around New Vegas.
Oh.
I'm sorry, Dave. I sounded like a complete jerk. You can go on with your story. It's okay.
No. Just no.
Not gonna do it.
You'll have to tune into the post show, which you can tune in on to find out the rest.
Oh no! Well, Matt the Modest in chat wants to hear about your leaf peeping trip. Other people want to know too. I was totally rude. You're right. I was totally rude. I was fishing for the joke.
I have ways of getting back at you that you will soon find out.
Okay.
Included that people will.
All right.
People will even notice. It was great. Went to Seneca Rocks. That's in a Fallout game. That hike is kind of crazy wild because technically the way that they measure it is they measure it top down. So it's a 0.7 mile hike.
Huh.
And I take my dogs on a 1 mile walk every day. So I was like, and I've done this hike before, and I did it in the rain last time.
What crazy wild, huh? Like Wild Appalachia?
Wild Appalachia. That hike is straight up a mountain. So it lies. It's probably 3 miles. I would say it's a 3 mile hike. Because it's just incline the whole time. You're going up. You get to the top. You see some rocks.
I've got another next most important question for you.
Mm-hmm.
While you were out there leaf peeping out in the wilds of Appalachia, did you see any cryptids?
I didn't see any cryptids. I saw a lot of deer.
That's not deer are not cryptid.
Well,
if you think about it,
all animals cryptids?
I think there was an ancient
Is this a cryptid?
of the deer god.
Yeah,
I'm
it was
doing the
delightful.
meme of the guy with the butterfly.
In the sky.
Well, that's butterfly in the sky. Hey, we got a show to do about Fallout. You guys want to do the Fallout show, or maybe we could just turn this into Appalachia stories?
I'm going to describe every single leaf that I saw. The number of veins on each one. Not only the name of the tree, but the Latin name of the tree.
Oh boy. Oh man. What did we get into? Speaking of leaves, I've clearly got allergies. Look at these eyeballs. They're like, they're just oozing liquid out of them. It's probably because I'm sad. Because boys, I don't think we're ever going back to New Vegas. I mean, we could. There's the whole Microsoft thing, but it wouldn't be the same. Right, it wouldn't be the same. But anyway, later on in the show, we're going to talk about our New Vegas. It's our New Vegas memories. It's 10 years officially as of yesterday or something, and at the time of recording, and wonderful memories of a terrible, desolate place with lots of monsters and scary things. But before that, we've got some news to talk about with Fallout 76.
We do
because it's Bomb Week, friends. This, what is it? Friday is the 23rd. Is that right? 3 days from now. 23rd, Friday.
Correct.
The 23rd of October, which is the future-versary. How does that work? Because it's 2020, but the bombs fall in 2077. So, future-versary of the Great War, the 2 hours where the bombs dropped everywhere. And so, kind of a big deal in Fallout world. That's kind of our, I don't know, most important date, I guess I would say.
I don't know if it's the most important date in my Fallout world. My most important day is like the day I met Dogmeat or something like that. I'll need to go and check that.
you keep that date in your head.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah. So we've got a big sale on the Atomic Shop. Guys, did you take a look at this yet?
There's a big sale, not in the Atomic Shop per se. It's on Atoms. So Atomic Shop and Atoms are
but there's a whole bunch of like packs of stuff too on the Atomic Shop that are like 20% off. I went in earlier and checked them all out. There's a bunch of stuff that like has showed back up again, including some of the stuff that you could only get if you bought like the Tricentennial edition or whatever it was called. Are now on the Atomic Shop, which some people are, of course, upset about. They're like, why did I pay an extra $30 for things that are going to be on the Atomic Shop later? I don't know. Okay, I don't know why you did.
Let me tell you, I paid an extra however much to get the Tricentennial edition, and I like they can just put those in the Atomic Shop. Like that's just, I don't care. Why? Yeah. It's like, why am I gonna like? You can't buy a Tricentennial edition of Fallout 76 anymore. You can buy the Wastelander or Settler or combined pack or whatever you call it, but you can't get that anymore. So yeah. I don't see. Yeah. I feel like the locking cosmetics behind a time gate is kind of weird. Especially particularly when it's for money. When it's not for money, when it's just like an event, or it's like you've played, like you were here for this particular thing. Like when we all got those veteran costumes when Wastelanders launched.
Oh yeah,
I feel like that's good. But I mean, the Tricentennial paints for the power armor are pretty cool. I've always liked those for the power armor.
Red, white, and blue stuff. Yeah. Yeah,
it's more like this like navy. It's like this navy blue across the whole thing, and it's like kind of accented in gold and red and white, which I kind of like more. Most of my original screenshots that I took from like when it first launched were in that power armor paint, and it looked really cool, I think.
Yeah, so those are up on the store. There's a bunch of packs of like. There's the spooky stuff. There's still some new spooky stuff for October, but then there's like packs that have returned to the store. Like the spring bundle is a thing again. You can get that for like 40% off or something. So if you missed it and you want trees, you can get it. Go get it. There's a bunch of them. I won't name them off, but if you're playing, if you want to go check it out, open up the game and go check it out. Which you should also do. Go on.
that I love spooky season so much. Spooky season is the best season.
Spooky season is the best season. You're right.
I love that we're all calling it spooky season. It's like
spooky season.
Or maybe it's just like the first time I'm using it, but I just like the idea of spooky season. It's like since the virus has taken hold of our world, holidays are extended over an amount of time, and I love spooky season.
Yeah, that's the only seasoning I use when I cook. Also, I've watched about all the haunting movies or shows on Netflix lately. They're in their thing. Pretty good, I guess.
Yeah.
Anyway, I was gonna say before we get off on another tangent, you're gonna want to jump back into Fallout 76 because on the 20th through the 26th, which is today, there is a free trial for 76. So if you haven't played it, go freaking play it. What are you doing with your life? It's free.
Or if you are like a high level and you've been playing it a bunch and you've got a friend that's like, oh, I don't want to buy it. I don't want to do
76 is garbage. I heard 2 years ago that it's terrible. YouTube's told me yeah, that's exactly what they sound like. YouTube's told me that it's like eating doo-doo in my face hole. Well, yeah, no. Play it. Go play it. Go play it. It's free. Go play it.
Grab a friend.
I think there's also there's a trial of Fallout First where you get access to that stash.
Yes.
So you can get your junk on.
Get your junk on and double XP and double score and legendary sale from the 22nd through the 26th.
Sunday.
All the good stuff. What are you doing with your life?
In college,
cats and dogs living together. Go ahead.
In college, we used to have these parties that we called trash can parties, and that's where you take all of the liquor and you put it in the trash can. And then you put some juice in it, and then everyone gets out of the trash can what they want to drink. And this feels like that, where it's just like everybody, let's put in a sale, let's put in double XP, double score, free weekend, free.
Take it all. Just take it all.
Trash can party.
In the 1930s, they called them rent parties, and they would do the same thing in their bathtub, and you would just scoop out of the bathtub.
I've done that too.
Yeah, that's a rent party. So get in there, play 76. We're all playing 76. You can find us in the world doing stuff, shooting super mutants with our handgun things, and punching guys a lot, and building crap like you do in a video game. So that's what we got going on there. But this episode, we are celebrating the 10-year anniversary of Fallout New Vegas. Guys, let's talk about Fallout New Vegas. Do you have any favorite memories? When you think Fallout New Vegas now, 10 years later, what comes to mind?
Robert Edwin House.
Yeah, Ken's a big fan of Mr. House. That's just a little bit.
But also Helios. Let's talk about Helios 1.
Okay, yeah. Let's talk about
Let's talk about the most badass part of the Fallout series. Anytime that you can fire up a badass piece of pre-war tech, whether it's, tromping along behind Liberty Prime and he's just decimating everything, or it's firing up Helios 1 and being like, NCR, sure. Okay, yeah, I'll probably fix that for you. Yeah, no problem. It's just give me a few minutes. And then 15 minutes later, Raid of Death. And you're just raining down Skyfire. That's pretty cool.
And I like, that's the first time that in the game that you run into like a real intelligence speech check. If you're just like following the path, you run into a scientist guy who's like, I need you to fix this, fix the power station or whatever. And then there's a number of options of if you're like too stupid, he's going to act really stuck up towards you.
Yeah.
Yes. When I was playing my now classic New Vegas character, Bitch Fist, who was basically a very charismatic, very strong raider without any intelligence. I got some of those dialogue choices.
I guess it would be considered now that it's 10 years. That puts it's now a retro game. Put it in an arcade cabinet, call it retro at this point. Can you
imagine playing this on an arcade cabinet?
Yeah, I could. Yeah, that'd be fun.
I just visualized that. That would be kind of fun.
Yeah. Imagine the like cool paint you could put on the side, like have that ranger standing there with this. Like that's what I think of when I think of Fallout New Vegas. I think about the ranger because that was in all the commercials that they played on everything. I don't watch that much like actual TV anymore, but it used to be the case that they would put all of the good games in these like pretty good commercials. And the New Vegas one ran a bunch. Now I remember watching a basketball game back in the day, and they were playing a commercial for New Vegas when it came out. Let's see, 10 years ago, yeah. So around that same time, or it was a year maybe after, that's when Red Dead Redemption came out, and they were playing commercials on, like, I didn't even know anything about that game, but just those commercials on and on. So I think about the Ranger armor, I think about the sniper rifle, and being kind of like at that front gate entrance that you really, which is funny because you don't really go in the front gate to Vegas, you kind of go in the back door.
Right. The commercial with the iBot flying over the road, like across.
Yeah,
like
that was such an awesome moment.
Yeah, that was good times. So there, like in retrospect, thinking about New Vegas, the way that I engaged with the game 10 years ago and the way that people think of it now are very different. Like, I think I've come to realize, especially from doing all of these Fallout shows and talking to all these people about these games, that most people engaged with Fallout New Vegas in a different way than I ever did. And for one, people love the companions. So, like, we're getting some notes here in chat as we talk. Some people absolutely love the companions. When it came to New Vegas, most of the time was companionless. I spent, unless it was like required for a quest line, I spent most of my time without companions, because that's the same way I played most of Fallout 3 was without companions. So I didn't expect to need to like, hey, let's hang out together and go all these places. It was just like, no, that's fine. I got it. I got this. Two, there's a very strong connection, obviously, to Fallout 1 and Fallout 2 because of the Obsidian team and the connections there between story and things, which I didn't realize at the time. 3, it's a Western, and it has very strong Western influences in like storytelling and setting, obviously, and even like design wise, like when you talk about the Ranger or the NCR Ranger, like the long trench coat, and it, obviously he doesn't have like a Western hat, but it's still got a vibe of like the gunslinger with his, his 6-shooter and like that kind of stuff going. Yeah. And the gamblers and all of that.
The factions themselves are very westernized, where you kind of have the NCR being like the American government. You have Caesar's Legion filling the role, and this is just in cowboy movies of how they're portrayed, filling the role of Native Americans, where they were thought of as these like
savages
killers, which we know is not very culturally appropriate.
Right. But in the 1950s and 1960s, Westerns were very popular, and they were not very culturally relevant back then. No.
They were pretty racist. Let's be honest. John Wayne was pretty racist in those. But I can see that the whole like Western aspect of these games, of the towns that you come into, it's like the towns have their own little personality.
Yeah.
It also had particular. I think it's different from every other Fallout game in which this one had pathing. Like there was a main. It felt like that you were on a path the whole time. Like you
couldn't just climb over a mountain range. You couldn't just like path your way over. A lot of the mountains you couldn't do that because there were invisible walls.
Yeah, but you could. Like when you start the game, you start in I forgot the name of the town. You start in the town with Texas Pete, and he's down there with his dynamite. He was like, Good Springs, yeah. And if you go left, you can run into a ton of death claws, and if you go right,
if you go north,
yeah. I'm thinking about
the Gauntlet of Pain.
Okay, did you guys ever make it through the Gauntlet of Pain at the beginning? This is now called the Gauntlet of Pain. I mean, most new players tried at some point to go through there, and then were like, oh god, hundreds of death claws, I am now dead. Death claws are the most terrifying thing ever, right? We all had that experience. Were you ever able to make it through there early in the game before you actually leveled up?
I did when I would sneak and run, and then sneak and run, and somehow made it through after a few
Yeah,
tries.
I did exactly the same thing a few years ago on a more recent beginning of a playthrough that I never
Because
finished.
you encounter a vault over on that side. I can't remember which one, but the vault is split in half, and you have to decide between, is it the reds and the blues or something like that? I can't remember the name of that
maybe.
quest, but you go down into that vault, and they're kind of split in half, and you have to mediate between the two.
Yeah,
So
Mathemata says Vault 19. That
that's
might be
the
it.
one.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah, I was able to sneak through there, and I remember accomplishing that and getting to the other side and then feeling like, why didn't I ever do that before? Like, why did I feel like this was so hard to get through? Because you could save scum it a little bit, but you could find a path through if you were just sneaky enough.
Well, to be
Right.
fair, also those games, Fallout 3 and Fallout New Vegas, Death Claws, and then you, God forbid, you run into like a pack of Cazadors, you might as
Oh,
well
yeah,
just
the Cazadors
kiss your
were the
ass
worst.
goodbye. You're toast. Both
Yeah.
of them were super overpowered back then, and compared to like Death Claws now. I mean, even in Fallout 4, within a few minutes of starting the game, you go get your power armor and your OP minigun, and you basically
Yeah,
just wreck
yeah.
that Death Claw pretty quickly. Even now in Fallout 76, Death Claws really aren't that big a deal.
Yeah, and I think it's due to improve, because back then, I mean, if we think about the bad things about this game,
Oh, it was janky.
the combat was terrible.
Oh, yeah.
Like if you could mod it and you could get it close to what I guess it could be now. But I am so glad that they took the time when they released 4, they were like, yeah, we're just gonna go back to the drawing board with this combat situation and make guns actually feel like that where you shoot, it shoots.
Right.
And things have some more stopping power. I guess that it became a point where the RPG mechanics, I guess, took over. And so it was like, if you could land a shot, you were pretty good as long as you were perked out to do some damage,
Mhm.
But I don't think I did a lot of sneaking. I can't remember doing that.
I've
much.
always
I never
I've always
did.
played a sneaky sniper.
Huh.
I've always played sneaky sniper. That's almost my go-to, except for in my first playthrough of New Vegas when I went like full punchy strength charisma build, bitch fist, and I tried to pick all the bad choices. I tried to be just the biggest jerk I could possibly be to everybody, which was hard. Like, it's hard to do that and feel good at the end of a playthrough, or at the end of playing for 3 hours and feeling like you're just being a jerk to everybody and stealing crap and killing people, and I'm just like, oh, this person is terrible.
Yeah, I remember. I think I did my first and most of my first playthroughs of like a regular Fallout game were pistol builds. Just because you get a pistol at the beginning and then you just start perking off that, and then eventually you turn into John Wick.
Perking off
that. I'm perking off everyone. Eventually you turn into John Wick at the end, and you're just like, you get them into vats and you can just like shot, clear a whole room in like a second, and then you move on.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So I didn't need to sneak. I'm so much better than you, Tom. I'm just here to tell you.
Thank you.
Kidding.
That was the retort for me cutting
There
off
it
your
is.
story earlier.
I have
There
a
it
question
was.
for you guys. How many times did you go through Sunny Smiles' tutorial
Sunny Smiles' tutorial.
Yeah.
in Good Springs, where she takes you out and teaches you how to hunt for the first time, and you get that
Oh,
recipe?
God,
And then you gotta shoot the bottles with the BB gun, or
Yeah.
she gives you some sort of gun that you shoot.
I think I only tried to go through it I think I avoided it after
There. I
after doing
imagine
it
her
once.
in my brain now, and I'm not sure how the voice actor actually sounds, but I imagine there's varmints down by the well. You need to go down there and shoot the varmints down by the
Mhm.
well. Like, that's how I imagine it in my head sounding.
Uh-huh.
Mhm. So here's another question. Talking about the early beginning part of the game.
Yeah.
Doc What's His Face saves you,
Mhm.
nurses you back to health, right?
Mhm.
How many of us immediately proceeded to steal him blind?
Oh, every time. Every single
Yeah.
time.
Just to take
I would
everything in
I would
his
take the
house
pillows,
that wasn't nailed
picture
down.
frames, books. By the time I went, the house was empty.
Doc Mitchell,
Yes.
that's it. Yeah. And every time I felt so bad. I was just like, this poor man just brought me back from the brink of death, and I'm now wandering his house, just like taking all this stuff, and he doesn't seem to care. Like, how is that possible?
The poor guy.
Wild
poor
wasteland
Doc
every
Mitchell.
single time. That is, I loved rocking that trait.
Yeah, there's no other way to play that game other than Wild Wasteland.
It's so much fun.
So
I
here's another question. There are a lot of creatures in New Vegas that don't necessarily show up in any of the other modern games. For example, one of my favorites are the what do they call the little guys? The salamanders.
The geckos.
Golden geckos.
The geckos.
Golden
That's
gecko
what
was a
they were.
variant of them. Yeah.
Yeah. The geckos, and I hated fighting them, but that was offset by how cute they were when they would see you at a distance and they would just run at you. Yeah,
I'm sorry.
They would do that.
Dave won whatever that was.
Dave did it right. This thing. Yeah, but like the little 2 foot like
Somebody clip that.
and then again I would feel bad sniping them in their little dumb faces because they were coming at me to try to kill me. I want to see variations of them show up in 76 with like new technology.
I'm throwing it out to Obsidian. Let me tell you, we need gecko pets in Fallout New Vegas. Like, that's the update that we need.
Mini
You haven't
gecko.
given us an update in years, and that's the update.
Gecko pets. Gecko pets. Yeah. Are there any? So there's like centaurs. We get like variations on mutated people. That's basically what a centaur is. Cazadors. I'm glad Cazadors are not in 76. What else is there that we don't
Nightkin.
get? Nightkin.
Yeah, Nightkin are
variations.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, on Super Mutants.
And then you get into the DLC, like God, you get into those creepy variants, a thin version of the mole miners, stalking through the Sierra Madre, and then you have the reanimated undead guys in survivalist suits and the big empty.
Yeah, the DLCs for that game, the DLCs for most of these Fallout games are freaking great. But Dead Money
at the time they weren't reviewed very well, if I recall. They were they got kind of middling scores.
Dead Money, I think, came out, and I remember when it came out, it kind of got a weird reception because people didn't know how to play it, because they take away all of your gear. You're already perked out to use guns for the most part. Like, I would say a good 90% of characters are gun builds in some form or fashion. And that DLC made you have to go back and do melee. So if you didn't have anything perked into that, you were sneaking. If you couldn't sneak, then you were just SOL.
And then you
couldn't get back.
The annoying bomb caller. So you kind of had to be mindful of being around radios and speakers, anything that would just blow your head to pieces. But you have to give them credit. That particular DLC was so different, and there was so much to it that it was like its own game. Like, that could be its own standalone game, the way that was structured.
I would agree that it was so insular in that like you just started pretty much naked, like naked and afraid.
Naked and afraid in the wasteland.
I like it. I like it when games do that. I like the kind of, I guess,
when they make you naked.
Well, like, I mean, think about
this
battle
just
royales.
Dave has a very specific type of game that he likes.
To be naked.
What's your build? I'm naked.
The naked build.
Hey, best snake in Metal Gear was Naked Snake. You know, gotta see that naked snake. Anyways, let's segment off of this.
Insert solid snake joke here.
We've got some other call outs here. Robo Brains, Giant Ants, Night Stalkers, Invisible Coyote, Rattlesnake Hybrids.
Oh God, what was that was the hell was the name of that? I know which one you mean. I can't think of the name of it. I went into a nest of them once, and that was kind of terrifying.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to have some of these kind of brought back into modern Fallout.
Yeah.
Those were the Night Stalkers, right?
Night Stalkers.
The Coyote Rattlesnake guys. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, we have some discussion questions here. Is that where you're going, Dave?
Oh yeah, sure. Anywhere you want to go, I want to go.
Anywhere I want to go? Take me leaf peeping. So question number 1, why is New Vegas considered a fan favorite game of the series? Usually if people do polls and things, New Vegas usually scores pretty high on like, which is your favorite of the Fallout games? What do you guys think? What do you think is what is the real reason here? If we peel off the layers of this onion, What do we get?
Sorry, I missed the question, but one important thing that I forgot there when we were talking earlier. Michael Hogan, who played Doc Mitchell early this year in February, fell at a con and had a serious brain injury that the family kept quiet up until this past summer. He's been really debilitated, not mobilized at all. So there was a fundraiser. The GoFundMe started a couple of months ago, and I think it's some ungodly amount of money right now. It's right now at it's closing in on $400,000 that fans have just raised for him. But he's got a long road to recovery.
Yeah, he voice acted in a lot of Bethesda games. He was in Skyrim as one of the Legionnaire guys. I forget his name. He was in Battlestar Galactica.
Yep.
He was the second in command of the ship originally.
Teen Wolf.
Was he in Teen Wolf?
He was in Teen Wolf.
I need to look this up.
Mountain Ash. Any Teen Wolf fans in the chat, or is it just me? No, just me.
I want to Teen Wolf.
It's been a long time since I've seen Teen Wolf. I'm trying to look him up in Teen Wolf, see if I can remember what he even looks like back then.
Yeah, he was the grandfather in Teen Wolf. That was the nemesis for a few seasons.
Wait, Teen Wolf came out in the 80s and he was playing grandfather back then?
No. Teen Wolf, the MTV revised series that came out sometime in the early.
I was thinking back like the Michael J. Fox, like 1987 or whenever that was.
Yeah, no.
Ken, that's
like holy crap.
That's like saying I love Oreos, but we really mean Uh-Ohs, which is the off-brand version of Oreos. Come on, man. Come on.
Well, I'm not nearly as excited about that now.
Or the Canadian version of Oreos. What is it? Hydroxy?
Yeah.
So anyway, let's get back to the question. Why is New Vegas considered a fan favorite of this series?
I've thought about this, and I think it's that the world is not grounded. That is the biggest difference, I feel like, from other games. It is less grounded than a lot of different, like a lot of Fallout 3, a lot of Fallout 4.
What do you mean by grounded, less grounded? What does that mean?
Ghouls decide that they want to get on a rocket ship and fly the rocket ship off into the moon. There is a solar plant in which you can get a laser gun that shoots a beam down from the sky. There is a hotel in which it's fully functional farming center for cannibals.
So you're saying it's like wackier?
There's wackier.
There's
wacky element to it.
I would see your wackier, and I would raise you that not only is it is wackier, but it's also darker at the same time. That any of the Bethesda games, the 3, 4, 76, like they've all got their wacky moments, they've all got their dark moments, but there are things that happen in New Vegas that are high, like wackier on the wacky scale, and there are things that happen in New Vegas that are darker on the dark scale.
Yeah.
Like the horrible things the Legion is doing, or some of the things that are happening with people in some of the expansions, or I mean, there are some dark, don't get me wrong. All of the games in the series can go wacky and dark. There's just something about the flavor of it in New Vegas that is more extreme in both directions.
I think because it balances the light and darkness in such a perfect way. Maybe in some aspects better than some of the previous games. Even Fallout 4 has such a bright and optimistic palette. Like everything is just bright and vibrant. It's almost Technicolor. So even though you have this really serious stuff going on, the world itself just isn't dreary. And then you've got New Vegas. Between those light moments and that darkness, I mean, you wander into a town with people strung up on crosses, dying.
Right. You actually have crucifixions
and slavery.
Like I can't imagine seeing a crucifixion happen in Fallout 76.
It would never happen today. Never.
It wouldn't feel like it was appropriate for for the dimensions of the game, for the way the game is framed. It would feel out of place.
Even
as wacky as you want to get with Yeah, as wacky as you want to get with like the cult of the Mothman, or or the raiders doing terrible things with body parts strung up and hanging around their camps and things. There's a next level you get to with something like a crucifixion because of the religious connotations with it, and just the torment of what somebody goes through in a crucifixion is pretty horrendous.
Yeah.
There's just another level there.
Yeah, it seems like that. I mean, in particular, 76 is a lot of nature is horrible, whereas New Vegas is people are horrible.
Yeah.
Yeah, and there's something inherently darker about more like moral darkness than there is about natural evil. Like natural evil is something you can't fight. An earthquake happens, buildings fall down on people, they get hurt. Animals get hungry, they hunt things, and you might just be the thing that gets hunted and eaten. But the terribleness that comes with human depravity is, I don't know, exponentially darker.
It's also dressed really well. Like you take a look at the white gloves, for instance. You walk into this beautifully glitzy luxury hotel, and meanwhile, there's a guy locked up in the basement who's getting ready to be served up. Or you have the omertas over at the Gomorrah when as a younger person in particular, you see that game and there's like wandering into a sex club and you're like, oh, this is awesome. And then you start to think about it and you're like,
oh,
okay, these
this
are
is in the
women
game?
that are trapped in this situation, and I'm trying to smuggle them out the door to their safety if you choose to go that path.
But that's another thing that we'll never see in 76.
No, prostitution
is like sex slavers, like prostitution and those kinds of things.
Not without mods.
We're not going to get that, but we had that in New Vegas. That was very much a thing. Do you think that this is one of the reasons why there was kind of a falling out between Obsidian and Bethesda? Do you think maybe they took things too far in a way that Bethesda wasn't happy with?
From the reports that out in the field, whacking heads out here, getting some information. This game had a very short development time, and generally games at the short development time are very heavily rushed, and there's a lot of pressure. And games are generally, I mean, if you look back and when they started Starfield to when they delivered, it's going to be probably like 4 or 5 years, where this one was like maybe 2. I think.
Oh yeah, this was very, very quick. Yeah, and I'm wondering if there was more to it than just that.
Yeah.
There was maybe some, or maybe I just didn't.
And there's just kind of this general like, we're not going to we won't go with them again for an expansion. Like we're not going to work with them again. But like, I think kind of this general.
I think the company culture at Bethesda, and this is kind of now, this is out. Everything that we talk about Bethesda is outdated now. But their culture changed after that, I'm pretty sure, where instead of farming out like IPs to other studios to do different things, it was
just a cultural change.
Yeah, they wanted to do things in-house because they were like, okay, well, we can buy a studio, and you know what, these people can. That's why we haven't had Elder Scrolls 6 or like a shoot off. Like they weren't going to give an Elder Scrolls Online game to a studio that they didn't own, because they wanted them to be in the family, because in this day and age, intellectual property is probably the number one thing that Bethesda has outside of talented developers and a fantastic range of studios.
I've always what worked, I think, for that particular partnership, I think Bethesda's strongest suit is their ability to world build. Like they can build ridiculously beautiful, attractive, huge worlds. Whereas I think for me personally, I've always felt that Fallout New Vegas for me offered a lot more of a role play experience than any of the other games, especially when you get into deciding what factions you're going to side with and wearing clothes or your actions dictating how those factions look at you. I think that in and of itself was ingenious and such a unique change to the games that we haven't had since. So the replayability choice-wise, even there's mods that you can add where you have an alternate start, where you could start as playing part of Caesar's Legion, or you start already in Vegas, and it has a lot of replayability from that aspect in a way that the other games didn't feel for me. Yeah,
I think you're right. The general feeling about Obsidian, across many of the games that they've designed over the last however long it's been, has been that they're very good at telling a story and very complex stories with multiple endings, and even to the point where they would commit to that. And for a while there, like with the what was it, the Old Republic games, Old Republic 1 and 2, like didn't completely get finished by the time it got launched because they just had to put it out the door. Like they committed to story so much that oftentimes they would sacrifice other things. Whereas Bethesda, I think, like they can tell a good story, but it's very much more about the world and the environment that you're in, and the story that the world tells, not necessarily the story that the game is telling.
I think it's a good having both Fallout 3 and New Vegas, and then you have Knights of the Old Republic 1 and then Knights of the Old Republic 2. I think that those are very similar in their differences, and how they differentiate and what they focus in on in the second version of them, and the fact that they were the second entries were both rushed considerably.
Even more recently, how when The Outer Worlds was launched, I think people who hated Fallout 76 really jumped on the bandwagon of expecting that game to be the experience that they wanted but didn't get. And it seemed almost universally, a lot of the reviews, people who played it, all had the same opinion that it's a great game. The role play in it was great, but it was very short and the world wasn't that exciting. So I think it is true that Obsidian tells really amazing stories. They get RPGs, but it's maybe the world building or the scale of the game that becomes fairly limited.
I think it's from playing through that and liking it. Bethesda is very good. Their Bethesda Game Studios is very good about building systems. That's one of the things that's why Todd Howard is famous, is because he built systems. That's why Elder Scrolls is so big. There's all of these different factors in this RPG that come together that aren't so esoteric, I guess. Like, it's not like a CRPG where you're sitting down and you're like calculating out the numbers. It's like he's figured out a way that you can shoot fire with one hand and use a sword with the other hand, and it'd be complex enough for people to really invest time into, but also simple enough for people to access. So I feel like that the world, I thought was pretty well designed for Outer Worlds. Felt like New Vegas a lot to me in the sense that the quests were all very linear. You felt like you were on a path. There were some side quests. You got to the end and it was the end, and the decisions you made had impact. And the art design for it was really fantastic. It was very reminiscent of BioShock with these like kind of like old timey 50s ads that I absolutely loved. And the design of the art of it was fantastic, but it lacked that systems driven open world that I think Bethesda games are, and why I love Bethesda games in general.
Yeah, I would imagine it's very hard to do both at the same time and do them both well.
Mm-hmm.
There's just a lot to take on there. So there's another question here Dave put in here. Dave is asking the question, why is Las Vegas a perfect Fallout location? Do you guys feel like that it is a perfect Fallout location?
Yes.
Yeah.
And why is that?
Fallout is about wild capitalism and how it affects the world and how it destroys people's lives. And I feel like that Las Vegas is a monument to that. I feel like the closest thing you can get to...
You're exactly right. Yeah.
The closest thing you can get to on the East Coast is Myrtle Beach, baby, which I hope we see. Fallout Myrtle Beach.
You also, there is, I keep coming back to the palette, that desert landscape and the beautiful tones at sunrise and sunset, the desolation of that space, which I know a lot of people don't like, are something that made for the most memorable moments when you're just, you can see the city in the distance, you're trudging along down the train tracks, and you have this long, mournful song playing on your Pip-Boy. And Mr. New Vegas, who I agree with the person in the chat, that radio station was the best radio station in any of the games to date. You can't get much better than the delivery of that.
So here's another difference in the way that...
It's goddamn Wayne Newton. You got to love Wayne Newton.
Here's another difference in the way that I play the Fallout games is if I'm streaming, and well, you can't do it anymore because the DMCA strikes and stuff, I will play music on the Pip-Boy. But if I'm just playing by myself, I do not play the radio stations at all because, well, two reasons. One, I always wanted to be ready for whatever sound was around me if something was going to attack me, and it would distract me from being able to listen carefully, especially when you're a sneaky character. You have to be aware of your surroundings. And two, the playlists aren't that long. There aren't that many songs on them. So you would hear the same songs over and over and over and over and over, and they would just burn into my brain. And as good as the songs are, as much as I for one absolutely love songs, like historically interesting songs from previous periods, in Americana. But
I mean, you were a swing dance instructor.
I was a swing dance, and DJ. I DJ'd this stuff.
Into it.
Yes. Yeah. A number of these songs I would use regularly.
Right.
Like that is a thing, but I cannot listen to the same song over and over and over and over again because it will just burn into my brain.
Yeah, and I think I've been a fan of the radio, and there was enough time between 3 and 4, and I think those radio stations are very similar in the amount, the kinds of songs that they have, because there's some carryover throughout all the games.
Yeah, right.
But there was enough time between those two that I was listening to the radio the whole time. 76, I really didn't listen to the radio because it was kind of a lot of recycled tunes from 4, but the score for 76 is the best in the series, hands down. Is the best score, and I will fight you to my grave, wherever my grave may be on that. But for New Vegas, it had a very unique playlist in comparison to the other games.
Oh yeah, for sure. Here's another thing I do. I also turn the score down when I play these games in order to focus on the soundscapes and in the environments and the sounds of enemies and things like that. And I find that in some ways, especially when it came to New Vegas, amplified the loneliness of the wasteland, of this desert wasteland, because I didn't have the sound of somebody singing a song in my ear as I was walking around lonely because I didn't have companions in this empty space. It was, I don't know, it was the sound of the wind and maybe the sound of the animals in the distance. And I don't know if anyone else has played this that way, but give it a try. See what you think. It feels very, very different because you feel like every moment is more, I don't know. I feel like you're more present in the moment rather than listening to a song and playing a video game. There's something about being more actively involved in the environment that you're in.
You know what? You're right, because 76, I play that way. I don't listen to the radio at all in 76. And I just listened to the ambiance and sometimes
the chimes when you walk past a house, or the rustling of leaves when you're walking through the hills of the forest area, or I mean, there's lots of sounds in the environments that you don't really pay attention to if you've got a song on, even if it's the soundtrack. And by basic layout, the soundtrack, even just the score, is very loud in comparison to the background ambiance noises. And when you swap those, and even if you just keep I'll keep the soundtrack down at like 20 or 30% of where it was originally, just so that there's some like sound cues for like, oh, an adventure thing is happening, somebody's attacking me. But for the most part, the background sounds are the stuff I keep higher. So I don't know. It's just my particular concoction when it comes to playing these. So it turns into a very different experience, I guess, than a lot of people had.
All I'm saying is that Fallout is a gateway, I think, for people to know the music. Mm-hmm. And so you don't get the massive amount of memes, particularly with Big Iron on his, as you go on. Yeah, I sing the song all day. I feel like that it's created this like generational, like that's how people access the music. And so if you can go to a ragtime jazz show of somebody actually playing it and recognize the tunes, if you're a fan of the games. I think that's kind of cool.
Yeah. No, I definitely think it's cool. And I do appreciate people having some sort of recognition or being interested in being like, wait, so who was this singer or who was this band that I'm listening to?
Well, yeah, I mean,
from like 100 years ago.
How often would younger people, especially now, be listening to classic old time country or like
Oh, yeah.
even Butcher
Right.
Pete. Like that doesn't play on the radio ever anywhere. People don't
Right,
even really
right.
listen to it because you wouldn't be exposed to it except in the game. But now you have people in their teens listening to songs from the last century.
Yeah, there's a song that comes up in '76 by Artie Shaw's band. It's a swing jazz tune. It's one of my favorite songs of his. And one of the things that when I would teach like DJ classes for swing dancing or whatever, I would try to get people to, like, you listen to those songs and they're crackly and they're old and the quality is very low and they're recorded in mono. In a room that live with very limited ability to mix or edit or clean anything. And you picture in your head a bunch of old people playing the music, because if you went to a current event anytime in the last 50 years, it was probably old people playing these tunes, and they played it like older adults who were tired and not as energetic as their 20 or 30 somethings versions of themselves. But one of the things I find so interesting about this music is imagining that you're listening to somebody in their 20s and 30s like jamming out. Like this was the like cutting edge music of the time. Like this is the heavy metal of that generation, or the whatever of that generation. And then all of a sudden, if you turn it up and you listen to it with that intensity, and you can do this while listening to any of these songs of Fallout, you begin to really understand the energy that's actually underneath it, even though the sound quality is very low. And it gives you a different appreciation for like, no, this is legitimately like killer stuff. It's just different.
Well, nobody
Anyway.
like swing dancing then is almost like really fast hip hop dancing now. The average person just doesn't dance like that. But you see even old time shows that featured dancers, like some of the 1950s music variety shows, when everyone would be out
like
there
Lawrence
just
Welk.
yeah, they would be just going out of their minds, just swinging and
Right,
throwing
right.
people around. It was
And
high energy.
and most people at the time were terrible at it. Like the people
yeah.
that made it to the movies were absolutely the top of the professional dancers. Most people, like when you talk about like, oh, my grandma, my great grandma, when we used to go dancing, like really they were just bopping around, like they were just hopping around. They weren't actually coordinated in their movement, but that's because they were just energetic kids. They were just kids moving to the way the music made them feel like they were moving, and there was that quality to it. Anyway, I feel like I've taken us on a tangent from here. Can we bring this back to Fallout New Vegas and talk about favorite moments?
Yeah, I wanna see what I want to know. Here's the things. I want to know some things about you all. I want to know what your favorite moment was, who you sided with the first time you played at the end of the game, and who was your favorite companion. I'm gonna hand this off to. I'm looking at them, and I'm gonna hand it off to Kenneth VIGUE.
Favorite companion.
Silence works really well for a podcast.
No, I have to really you know what? I'm still gonna go with Boone. Boone, for one thing, his cider enhancement once you help him out a little bit to get his vengeance is really great. I have a soft spot for really tortured people who went through hell, lost everything, and then somehow still find the will to breathe. Boone in particular personifies that. I mean, his family destroyed, and you've got this fool working downstairs that he isn't even aware sold his wife into slavery. It's a horrifying, brutal story about how he lost everything, including his fellow soldiers. Boone, I think, makes a really great companion. Mind you, he's a little problematic when you decide to fire up Helios 1 and then just destroy the NCR with fiery rain of death. But yeah, Boone in particular, I really enjoy as a companion.
Yeah, I didn't take very many companions. I think Boone, because you come across him so early, was the only one that actually kept with me for a little while. But then at some point, I just let it. Was like, nah, you can go back. I'm done with you. I just let him go. Yeah. So I don't have a whole lot to say about companions in New Vegas.
Favorite moment?
Yeah, because you didn't do them.
From my own, I mean, other than just doing research on it, but from my own standpoint. my own experiences. Not really.
Yeah.
What about you, Dave?
Oh, my favorite companion? It's I'm trying to decide. Cyberdog. Cyberdog is the best dog.
Great.
Oh yeah. You know what? I did use Cyberdog for a while. I think that was the other one. Yeah.
Anytime there's a dog that beats humans, that's also a rule I carry in life. The dogs are just better, even if they're cybernetic. They're better.
Totally.
And maybe the cybernetics increase their betterness. Who knows? A lot of people
fix the brain on it, and then
yeah. A lot of people like Arcade Gannon too, because it's voiced by my boy Zachary Levi. I think it's his name. He plays Shazam, and he is the Followers of the Apocalypse guy, the Doctor, whose grandparents were in, or was it his parents or his grandparents? I can't remember. They were in the Enclave from Fallout 2. And his whole story is really fantastic. But as a companion, I didn't really use him because I didn't want some nerdy SOB running around and being like, are we doing the right thing here today? I didn't particularly care.
I did appreciate it, and it was pretty groundbreaking at the time for him to be one of the first LGBT companions that you could kind of romance and woo.
That's true.
Which is interesting. And I also think, God, was it, Veronica. I think of Veronica.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Veronica
was great.
So, I mean, that game gave us two LGBT companions, which is pretty, I don't think, was there anybody in Fallout 3? I'm trying to think. I don't think so.
I don't think so. And I don't think, could you romance anybody in Fallout 3? I don't think so.
I don't think that was really a thing.
So New Vegas also gave us romancing? Is that true?
I think maybe.
Yeah.
I mean, when you think about then,
chat, you can correct us if we're wrong.
Could you sleep with people?
So. But then again, I wasn't really a companion guy. I don't think romancing was a thing in 3.
Still, when you think though, how many things that New Vegas introduced that are now being reintroduced to 76, as far as factions, decision making, romancing, even in a limited fashion.
And you wouldn't have 76 without New Vegas, because New Vegas is where survival mode started. Yeah, which is that's where I really fell in love with the game, because it changed how I played it entirely.
My first playthrough was survival mode.
Yeah.
Good old bitch fist.
And you wouldn't have Fallout 4 wasn't really it didn't have survival mode until later on. That was an update that they added into it. And I think for New Vegas it was too, but the world felt you got to play Fallout a different way. And I feel like that they really committed to that for 76.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. What about favorite moments? I think you'd ask that.
Yeah, I asked that. I asked favorite moments, and then I asked another thing. Who'd you side with? My favorite moment in New Vegas was probably when you find Benny. I really liked getting to that end, because you go all the way up through the map, and then you come back to Benny, and then you have some options of how to deal with him. And my favorite, I really loved having this fist fight that felt very let's bring up Metal Gear again. It felt very Metal Gear, because you're it is now time, we will fight each other in one-on-one combat because you have wronged me. It felt really good to punch Chandler Bing from Friends as well. Felt very.
Can you imagine replaying that moment as soon as Benny sees you, and then just the music from Kill Bill plays? That woo, woo.
I like it. Oh, and who I sided with overall the first time, I'm an NCR boy. I'm all about that big government coming in and telling me what to do.
Yeah, I tried siding. Bitchfist tried to side with the Legion, but ultimately turned against them at the end, which was kind of interesting.
It's too much of a bitch fist.
It's been so long. It's like that. Trying to think back a decade now, almost. Man, man, crazy stuff.
You can still play those on. You can get Xbox has cross compatibility, so if you're on Xbox, you can play the old game pretty easily. Of course, like PC, you can go on Steam or.
Oh yeah, I've re-downloaded it. I've re-downloaded and played before. Mm-hmm.
If you're in PlayStation 4, you can actually get PS View and stream it to your PlayStation 4 and play some New Vegas and 3 as well. Plus, I think they have 4 in that setup as well.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a lot of ways to play. And I think that as far as the discussion, we talked about how that kind of inspired the series. I think that about covers it, my friends.
Yeah. So you have a secret segment for us, Dave?
Yes, I do. I have a very secret segment for you. We are going to do a very special game. I have devised a game. Now, it's not a New Vegas game unless there's some betting involved. So I have...
As long as it's not Caravan, screw that game.
I have developed some trivia questions, and here's how the game will go. You each start with 100 caps, and I will be keeping score, so don't worry. The math will be left to me. You each start with 100 caps. I will give you a category. You will bet an amount of caps on whether or not you can get that question right. Those caps go into the pot. If you get the question right, you get all of the caps in the pot. If the other person gets it, they get those caps. If nobody gets it, I get the caps. Now, here's the thing. Some questions...
The house always wins.
Yeah,
some
that's what I was thinking.
Some questions I can't get any caps. Like it's just whoever gets closest to, or it's an either or. Some questions are direct answers in which I can gain caps. So it's all about betting on the category.
All right. It's been a long time since I played these games.
Good.
I'm gonna get so many things wrong. All right, go ahead. Yeah.
So you each start with 100 caps. So it's 100 caps for both. And the first category is high rollers. Tom, how many caps would you bet on knowing high rollers?
I'm gonna have to remember names of characters. This is not good.
It's gonna be trivia. I'm not gonna say anymore. It could be anything.
All right. 100. I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
I would recommend like a
10. 20. 10.
Okay.
Let's just start with 10. 10. We'll start with 10.
Okay. Ken?
10 as well. I'll see your 10 and match you 10.
Going all in. Yeah.
All right. So the question is, how tall is the stratosphere in Las Vegas? The stratosphere is what the Lucky 38 is based off of. So in actual Las Vegas, how tall in feet is the stratosphere? The person who gets
not
the
stories and not floors?
No, feet.
Feet.
The person who gets it closest is the winner.
The stratosphere in actual Las Vegas?
Yes.
Who gets to go first? Who votes?
Tom, since you voted first, you got it.
So I bet first. I'm trying to think. 400.
400. Okay. Ken?
300.
300. Ladies and gentlemen, the stratosphere in Las Vegas is approximately 1,149 feet. That means, Tom, you will receive the payout amount, and you will get 20 caps, raising your total to 120 caps.
Wait,
Ken,
I don't just get... I shouldn't complain here. I bet 10 of my own. He bet 10 of his own. I don't get 10.
I did the math wrong. Just give me a second. Just give me a second. Ken
I'll
has
take
90.
20. You can give me 20.
You have 119 caps. Ken has 90. All right, next question. The category is, I got it from a dino.
Okay.
Tom, how many caps would you bet on this category?
Wait. Ken should go first this time.
Ken, how many caps?
I'm also going to go for 10. Let's
10,
recoup
okay.
what we lost here.
All right, sure.
This is only going to be interesting if we keep raising the bets. I'm going 20.
20, okay. The question is, what movie is That Gun based off of?
Oh, God. I know this. I know it.
Ken, you will go first since you have... if you would like for me to repeat the question, I can.
I think I know it.
In the game, it is called That Gun.
I'm going to go with Ian Fleming's classic James Bond film, The Man with the Golden Gun. And the man who had 3 nipples, who lived on that island, and had beautiful ladies and a small person.
That is incorrect, but also had a fantastic villain that was played by the Italian actor. I forgot his name. He's very famous. He played Scarface. Tom.
Wasn't it Blade Runner?
Yes, correct. You receive.
I never even saw Blade Runner.
You receive 30 caps, bringing your total
Sweet.
up to. I'm doing the math.
I'm doing
100.
as well as I thought I would be.
120 caps. Ken, you are at
Wait,
80
what?
caps. You have 120.
Didn't I
You
just
bet
have
20.
100? And
No, you had 110.
then I bet 20.
You bet 20 just now. Ken bet 10. Therefore,
don't I
you
get
got
20 more?
Ken's 10. You got Ken's 10.
So there's no benefit in betting more.
It depends.
How does this work? This game doesn't make any sense. So I can bet 1 every time, and if Ken bets 10, I still win 10, but I
then,
only risk losing 1?
But then, okay, yeah. This game was developed by me.
I don't win money from the bank for my 20?
This game was developed by me.
Well, that's all the time we have, folks.
I don't understand.
Let's do.
This is fine. We'll keep going.
How much we got? Okay. We're gonna do
I have
category fraternity. In a stunning conclusion, I will be asking you to bet above 10 caps. In this case,
All right. 11.
11 caps.
11. All right,
11 caps.
Kenneth.
Because there's no benefit in risking more. Go ahead.
How many caps did you bet, Kenneth?
11 caps.
Okay, 22 caps in the pot. What was this category? I forgot even. Is fraternity? Is that the one?
It is.
Fraternity? Yeah. How old was Julius Caesar when he died?
Is this
28.
wait. Is this like Price is Right where you can't go over?
No, it's whoever gets closest to. If you get exactly
All right.
on the money, then I give you back the cap.
56.
Okay, Ken?
I
said
said 28. I'm going to stick with that.
Okay. Tom got it right. He was 55.
Oh, man.
He got it right again.
That
Tom,
was very close.
Tom increases his lead to 131 caps.
If this was
Ken-
Fallout trivia, I could have been a contender.
Ken has 69 caps. Woohoo, baby.
We'll just stop right here.
Woohoo.
We'll do one more and then we'll call it. So
I'm
let's
gonna bet.
see.
I'm betting it all. I'm putting it all in.
I'm betting
All right.
69.
I want his
caps.
69 caps.
The category is nomenclature.
I'm going to fail this as well.
Nomenclature. All right.
Nomenclature.
Okay. All right.
All right, Tom, how much do you want to bet?
I'm putting it all in. It's all going in.
131 caps, okay? Ken?
69 caps, my friend.
69 caps, all right, all in. All right.
Jingle,
For
jangle,
your
jingle.
final-
You know what I'm saying?
Jingle, jangle, jingle.
You know what I'm
your
saying?
final thing, we'll decide the winner here. What is the name of the dino in Fallout New Vegas?
Oh, the dino. Dino?
No.
It's not Dino. What was it?
Ken, it is your turn to answer.
This game will only be appropriate if we both just blow this and lose all our money. And the house wins.
Ken?
I'm just going to go with Rex. No idea.
No. The answer was Dinky. Therefore,
Dinky.
the house wins 200
Oh,
caps.
damn it.
In another lesson that the house always wins, including Robert House. So that has been my well thought out
Damn it.
game show segment.
Dinky. I knew I was close. I was closer. Does that mean I still win?
And that's not how that works.
That's
No,
not how that works.
No.
I got some of the letters.
No, that's not one of those questions. If it was a
Alright.
number-based question, There were some other great questions, like who was the leader of the White Legs tribe? It was Salt Upon Wounds. You wouldn't have been able to get that.
Nope.
How many snow globes were there in Fallout New Vegas?
Oh, you know what? Back when I first started streaming, I collected all of them.
I think there
There's
was
7 of them.
Yeah.
So
I collected them all.
I'm really
I
proud
wouldn't
of
have
you for
remembered.
getting 7
Seven?
things.
I wouldn't
Lucky
remember
7.
that there were 7 now, but I remember specifically collecting them on stream.
How many gallons were in the Hoover Dam reservoir? There are 19.2 trillion gallons. In that
Holy
reservoir.
moly!
Who was the president of the NCR in New Vegas? That was Aaron Kimball.
Wouldn't remember that one.
What year was the California Republic founded? Not the new California Republic, the California Republic. It was 1846.
Interesting.
That's all.
All right.
I read them off for
All
you.
right.
I win.
Very cool. Well, should we wrap this up with a? There's the music. Wow. Very nice. So should we wrap this up with a soapbox? Fellas?
I think so.
Who wants to do this one? Anybody?
I did the
Bueller?
last one,
Bueller?
so it should be somebody else.
How about you do it, Tom?
I get to do this one.
Or I
All
can
right.
do it. It doesn't matter. Either one.
I've just pulled it up. I'll do it. Okay. Should I? The first word. Should I bleep myself? Or are we going to make this a mature podcast?
I think that you should make it.
Put the mature tag on?
No, I think you should like good place it and then just like make up a word. Like,
All right. So I should say FARC.
yeah.
FARC, the Legionnaires. They suck. All of them. I hate the NCR as well, but I'd much rather side with them than these idiots. I visited them so I could help them with the platinum chip, and they treat me like shoes. And when I leave, because I'm not leveled enough to disable robots, they send bounty hunters on me. Of course, I'm not going to let them kill me, so I fight back, getting myself vilified. Also, you can't forget about Nipton. They are all religious crazy and get mad because people in the town drink. So alcohol and sex is terrible, but it's okay to leave them hanging on a cross in pain. All right, makes sense. I'm just upset that they have the audacity to send hitmen on me when I literally was trying to help them. I wasn't sided with the NCR at all. Fork them. I can't wait until I can find people willing to raid their base because I'm going to kill every single one of those bastards. I couldn't figure out a word to replace that one with.
Bastorgs is the alien race coming from the planet Jupiter. They often carry tridents and surf
Tridents.
baby squirrels.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Legion sucks, man. They suck. If I do their quest, I make sure that Caesar dies on the operating table. The best thing about them is that I like to kill them. Most punchable face is how I would rank them in the yearbook superlatives. Most punchable.
Most punchable face.
I do enjoy murdering Vulpes in Koltata.
It's just a fun name, isn't it?
Vulpes.
In Koltata.
Doesn't that mean wolf? I think that means wolf, right?
I think it does, yeah.
And doesn't he wear like the wolf head?
Yeah, he wears like sunglasses and this like wolf head, and I'm like,
yeah.
He looks like what he looks like is what's the character from King of the Hill that's is it Dale that has the glasses that just like
the mumbles?
You know what I'm talking about. No, not the mumble. The other guy. The one that, I'm talking about Dale. Yeah, I'm talking about Dale. He looks like if Dale wore a wolf hood. That's how he looks. It always reminds me of. You know.
Yeah.
King of the Hill reference.
Somebody needs to make a t-shirt out of that.
Yeah, totally. That would be a great way to like pull off some like unlicensed gear and maybe get sued a little bit.
Courier of the Hill.
Good idea. I don't have any other thoughts on this rant.
Did anybody in their right mind was like, oh, like, by the time that people, I think, sided with the Legion, they probably exhausted all their other playthroughs. They were like, you know what? I haven't done a Legion playthrough. I guess I'll do that.
You know what? That's how
I sided with the Legion first. I kept myself pretty neutral until I had to start making choices, and then I sided with the Legion because I was playing Bitch Fist. Who's Bitch Fist going to side with but the Legion? But then he turns on them in the end, kills. Like I ended up not siding with. It was ridiculous. It was a ridiculous playthrough. But Bitch Fist is a ridiculous
excuse me,
guy.
male person, would you mind doing brain surgery on our beloved leader? Yeah, no problem. I've got that. I got it. I took a course.
Got it.
No problem. Give me some mentats. Where the bone saws at?
Chat says, he does look like Dale.
Yeah, the best thing that ever came from the Legion is probably Joshua Graham, which is probably one of the most underrated characters, I think, from Fallout. Because he's pretty cool.
Yeah, he's got his fans, for sure. Yeah.
I mean, he's not exactly, I'm not like, oh man, I personally like him in relationship with Joshua Graham and I love him so much and I just want to be him. But, you know, he's got like a wrapped up face. He's got this like vest on. He uses his little, isn't he dual wield some pistols and he like talks about the Bible a lot? I mean, that's enough character for me.
That sounds like a fun Halloween costume.
I like a man in bandages.
A man in bandages.
Mm-hmm.
That's my new band. Well, boys, I feel like we've...
it's like an onion. You just keep peeling.
Just keep peeling that onion.
Peeling that sweet.
Oh, there
delicate,
you are.
Yeah.
You little burned piece of ham.
You're like a hot dog that's been in the microwave for at least 3 minutes.
Oh, God.
That's loving right there.
Mm.
Oh.
Good times.
Take you to Burning Man.
Oh.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah. I think we're done it. I think we're here. I think we're at the end of the show, guys. Universal just showed up in chat. Hi, Tune.
I've got one. I didn't get a chance to share my Fallout 76 memory, and it's a good one to end
New Vegas
on.
Vegas memory or 76 memory?
Fallout New Vegas memory.
I mean, I've got some thoughts on 76.
We could just completely change topics if you'd like.
The best part for me, at the conclusion of the game, and then also at the conclusion of the DLC, that haunting musical number, which you can still find on YouTube. Sometimes when I'm writing, I'll play it. The slideshow music, which I don't even think it has a proper name, but when it's doing the recap of what happened afterward.
I'm pulling this up.
Yeah, with the narration, that music.
I need to hear the music again.
Is so beautifully mournful and haunting, to the point that even with the Sierra Madre, once you finish Dead Money, when all of the characters are saying the line "letting go," it's such a sad, like it leaves you a little bit breathless by the time you're done with it. I miss those ending montages with the music.
Good point.
Well, are you trying to get everybody depressed here so we exit the podcast? You know,
it's very sad. It's very sad music.
Because here's the thing about New Vegas: is nobody wins. Like nobody, like excuse me,
only the house wins.
Only the house wins, but you don't get and everyone lived happily ever after. No matter what, you have probably destroyed a society, if not in multiple society,
Yeah.
So that people can't say anymore that we live in a society.
So the only way to win New Vegas is to just start the game and just hang out with Doc Mitchell and just kind of live there.
You never need to leave.
Just be part of the town. Just be a townie playthrough. Help Doc out. You know, go down to the bar.
That's some good fan fiction.
Do some farming.
I like that like, okay, what a what if scenario. It's like, okay, I'm awoken. Oh, you've been shot. I've healed you, and you're like, I kind of like Doc Mitchell. Let's just. He's gonna be my partner. And
I mean, it's one of those things that happens where somebody falls in love with the person who helped nurse them back to life. Like, what if at that point you just got eyes for good old Doc Mitchell, and you're just like,
wow,
Doc,
we've really gone down a rabbit hole here.
Yeah,
I finally found you, Doc.
And then when that stupid old girl with her BB guns comes knocking, you're like, listen here, I've gotten myself a nice life. I don't need to go down to the well shooting any oversized insects I'm up
Nope.
here sitting on the couch playing a little strength game because they have that little, like squeezy
All
thing
right,
up
I'm
there.
just squeezing.
I've got
I'm
it.
just working on.
All right. F, Mary, kill. Good Springs people only.
Okay.
Oh God, who all is in Good Springs?
Oh,
I don't even remember.
Even if you don't remember the name, you remember the characters.
I don't.
You have
I so don't.
Lady at the Bar, whose name I forget. You got Sunny
Yeah.
Smiles. You've got Easy Pete, Dynamite Dog, sitting right out front there.
All right.
You've got that powder ganger dude who wants to start some rumble. You have the undercover powder hanger dude who's just hanging out in the gas station. God, who else? You've got good old Doc Mitchell.
Good old Doc. All right.
Um.
What do you think, Dave?
Okay. I will. Okay, so we got to kill somebody. I'm killed Sunny Smiles. Annoying. Does things in the town weird. Wants to involve me in things that I'm not involved in. And frankly, I like my personal space. I'm probably going to fuck
We got that mature rating.
Whatever.
We
Damn
did it. I avoided it. I did a good job.
I can't stop it. Okay. I'm making a decision. Texas Pete, Little Pete, the guy with
Easy
the
Pete.
dynamite. I'm
Easy
gonna F him. Now I'm censoring myself. And then I'm gonna marry Victor because that seems like a good monogamous relationship, and he will take care of me because he saves me. And we all talk about Doc Mitchell, but we don't talk about Victor. Why are we talking about Victor?
There's Victor. There's Ringo. I'm looking up the inhabitants right now.
That's what I had to do.
Ringo. That's
So
the one.
Sunny Smiles and Trudy have basically the same face.
Well, I mean,
Almost
to be
have
fair,
the same face
I mean,
generated.
There's very little variety in 76 in
It's
terms of
very
faces.
little variety. I don't know if I could
different
deal with Doc
living.
Mitchell. Doc Mitchell's a nice guy. I don't know if I could deal with his mustache. I can't kiss that face.
I mean, I can deal with his mustache. You know what I mean?
No, not me.
Oh
Not me.
boy.
Well, I mean, Easy Pete's got a whole beard going for you, so there you go. I think I'll murder Doc. I think I'm going to.
Wow.
I'm going to F all of the powder gangers, and then I'm going to marry Victor because he's a robot. Perfect. Perfect solution. Boys, I think we're at the end of the show. Thanks for joining
Whoa,
me.
hang on. Wait.
Whoa.
Let's
Whoa.
slow your roll.
Dave.
We gotta hear Ken. Ken
Okay.
hasn't told us.
Sorry.
All right.
Sorry. Ken is so drunk that now I'm drunk. Go ahead, Ken.
I'm not yet.
We've been secretly drinking.
I'm going to choose to marry Sunny Smiles because she can teach you stuff.
Uh-huh.
I am going to F Easy Pete because that name don't come from
Man,
no
both
place.
of you guys are
You know what I'm
all over Pete.
Yeah.
I mean, I bet he's got a lot of experience.
You know,
I
he's
heard
got
he's a
that.
dynamite in the sack.
He's got that BDE right there, sitting in that chair. Just casually relaxing, legs out, just chilling.
Mm.
It's got.
Can
Legs out.
rock
We're going-
my world.
Yeah, and I would have to kill Victor because Victor would want to intrude at some point and continue me on my journey. The question is, how
That's
far
true.
would he go to make sure that I kept going? Would he kill my betrothed?
All the way.
Would he burn
all
Good
the
Springs
way.
to the ground? Victor is not all he appears to be.
All the way.
Victor
And on
wants
that
the
note-
package.
I'm actually going to finish the episode right here.
Wait,
Victor wants the package.
Wait.
Oh, I tried to get us to the end.
More
I tried.
bad jokes. More
I
bad.
tried.
Everybody.
I'm sorry, chat.
with me.
More
With me.
bad
More
jokes.
bad jokes.
Sexual innuendo.
Oh, I tried to cut it off before. All right. Well, we're there. Thank you for joining us for this recap of everything that has happened in Fallout New Vegas. We just covered everything. There's nothing else to talk about. We've covered it all. Everything.
Covered it all.
Covered it all.
And next Tuesday, next Tuesday. Next Tuesday.
Is that the Halloween week?
Yes. Don't forget, next Tuesday, we are going to be doing a very special Halloween
Episode of the Fallout Hub.
It's gonna be. It's gonna be.
Yeah.
It's gonna be spooky.
Dave, can you do one of those voices too?
Yeah, hang on. Hey, it's me.
It's Danny DeVito. Danny DeVito's back.
Oh, Dave's wearing his costume. Dave's going
But
for.
it's not.
It's Danny DeVito in costume.
Welcome back, Danny DeVito.
We may
It's
have it
great to
all.
be here.
We may have Afghan grandma come back. We may sing about the Great Space Coaster. Who knows what'll happen on Tuesday?
You never know what's going to happen on the Fallout Hub.
Oh.
Anyway, anything else you guys want to call out before we go? Anything else happening?
I do podcasts. I do this one. I do others. Go check out the others. Geography Arcade. Starfield Lorecast. I do that with Tom. That's pretty fun.
Yeah.
That's a hell of a ride.
Almost up on Apple Podcasts. Apple
Yeah.
Podcasts. Why do you take so long?
Too long.
Too long.
Is there absolutely no lore about Starfield? Yeah. Do we make lore about Starfield? Maybe.
Wait,
it worth listening
Starfacts.
to? Yeah.
Hold on. Starfacts.
Yeah, Starfax is what we're calling it. It's officially sanctioned by Bethesda. It's the official Starfield Lorecast. We're just
Yes. We're also the most popular Starfield podcast in the universe.
yeah. I'm exhausted, so I'm gonna pass this to Ken. Ken,
I've got a lot going on. So for Halloween, we've got quite a bit that we're doing this Friday night, starting at 5 p.m. The cast of Chat of Fallout 76 Story is inviting you to the Halloween Drive-In. We're going to be broadcasting two really bad, awful, terrible horror movies. Deathbed, The Bed That Eats, is going to be our first show. And then Plan 9 from Outer Space, which is a hot mess, but also has a charm to it, a cult following in the form of love for Ed Wood. And then on, next Thursday, the Fallout 76 Writers Group, I'm going to be doing a special stream where they've written some original Fallout 76 horror stories that are really good. So we're going to be reading those kind of audiobook style. And then next Friday, we'll have a special scary stream. And then Saturday, Halloween, is when our season 2 of Chat of Fallout 76 Story starts with a Ray Bradbury-inspired tale called Halloween in October Country.
Wow. Lots of stuff going on. It's that time.
Halloween, baby, Halloween.
Halloween?
Halloween.
Halloween.
Woo woo.
Halloween.
Halloween.
What do you call a nuclear winter in the apocalyptic aristocracy? Nuki wins.
Oh, it's
Is that what
Nuki
you call
wins.
it?
Everyone
Yeah,
wants
Nuki
Nuki
wins.
wins.
Nuki wins.
Yeah.
I like
There's
that.
some Nuki wins.
Everybody- Nuki wins. Halloween. Play some Nuki wins on Halloween.
Halloween. Well, I've got the Fallout Lorecast on Monday nights, so come join me at twitch.tv/robotsradio. You can also check out all the podcasts on the network at robotsradio.net. And look in the show notes, guys, because there's deals for stuff like audiobooks.com and Loot Crate and Gamefly and Green Man Gaming and NordVPN. You can save some money and also get stuff for free, like 3 audiobooks from audiobooks.com. Just click the link. Just do it.
Oh my God.
It's free stuff. Oh my God. We set it up so you guys could benefit, and then we benefit also. It's a wonderful symbiotic relationship. But thank you, everybody, for joining us for the Fallout Hub. And we will see you next Tuesday. Same bat time, same bat channel here at twitch.tv/the Fallout Hub, 5 p.m. Eastern, 2 p.m. Pacific. We will see you later. And until next week, make sure that you stay away from those cazadors because there's some sons of bitches. See you guys later.
And everyone wants a piece
Bye.
of Easy Pete.
And everyone wants a piece of Easy. That's why they call him Easy Pete. Everybody knows what they can get from Pete.